Trump allows negotiations with Iran. July 20, 2019, 10:38. U.S. President Donald Trump announced that he had allowed Republican Senator Rand Paul to negotiate with Iran on easing tensions in the Gulf region. Rand, my friend, asked me if he could engage in negotiations, and I answered yes, Trump said in a White House press statement. If other senators ask me to get involved, I may also say yes, depending on who they are, Trump said. I have a lot of people involved in this, and Iran will work very well. The former Iranian president calls for direct negotiations with America. July 20, 2019. Former Iranian President Mohammad Ahmadinejad has asked his country's officials to enter into direct negotiations with the United States. In a statement to the New York Times, Ahmadinejad suggested that the Iranian and U.S. governments discuss a number of differences between the two countries through direct negotiations. Trump is a businessman, so he is able to calculate the cost-benefits and make a decision. We tell him to let us calculate the long-term interest rate between our countries and not be short-sighted, Ahmadinejad said. Ahmadinejad's call contrasts with Iran's assertion that it will not enter into any direct negotiations with the United States, especially given the growing economic sanctions imposed by Washington. Nasdaq and the Iraq Stock Exchange signs new market technology agreement.
Juillet 19, 2019 2 et source, Nasdaq, Inc.
Stockholm, Sweden and Baghdad, Iraq, July 19, 2019, Globe News Wire, Nasdaq Incorporated, Nasdaq, NDAQ, and the Iraq Stock Exchange, ISX, have signed a new agreement to extend their market technology relationship. As part of the agreement, Nasdaq will continue providing ISX with matching engine and central securities depository, CSD, technology. This new agreement marks the next chapter of a technology partnership between Nasdaq and ISX, which originated in 2007. We are pleased to build on our successful partnership with Nasdaq, said Taha Abdulsalam, CEO, Iraq Stock Exchange. Using Nasdaq's market technology is a clear indication to investors, regulators, and other exchanges that Iraq will bolster its efforts into becoming an important financial center for regional and global businesses. By upgrading to the latest Nasdaq technology, ISX will be joining a community of exchanges deploying high-end, multi-asset trading technology that complies with international standards, said Mitchell Carlson, Managing Director, Nasdaq in the Middle East and Africa. We look forward to supporting ISX as they continue evolving and innovating their marketplace. Nasdaq's market technology powers more than 250 of the world's market infrastructure organizations and market participants, including broker-dealers, exchanges, clearinghouses, central securities depositories, and regulators. In over 50 countries with end-to-end, mission-critical technology solutions. About Nasdaq. Nasdaq, NDAQ, is a leading global provider of trading, clearing, exchange technology, listing, information and public company services. Through its diverse portfolio of solutions, Nasdaq enables customers to plan, optimize and execute their business vision with confidence, using proven technologies that provide transparency and insight for navigating today's global capital markets. As the creator of the world's first electronic stock market, its technology powers more than 100 marketplaces in 50 countries, and 1 in 10 of the world's securities transactions. Nasdaq is home to approximately 4,000 total listings with a market value of approximately $15 trillion. To learn more, visit http://business.nasdaq.com. About Iraq Stock Exchange. Iraq Stock Exchange, ISX, was established according to Law 74 on April 18, 2004 and began trading on June 24, 2004. ISX held its first session on June 24, 2004 using manual trading, written auction on whiteboards. To enable companies to trade electronically, electronic trading was introduced to the market for the first time in the history of Iraq by using Nasdaq's platform in April 2009. The whiteboards have since been replaced by electronic trading workstations. ISX operates 5 trading sessions on Sunday to Thursday every week. According to the regulation rules, ISX tasks include regulating, controlling, disclosing, and launching continuous trading on listed companies' shares. In addition to controlling both trading operations and activities of brokerage companies' financial solvency. Survey: Central banks will continue to buy gold. July 19, 2019, 7:48 p.m. From Salih Ismail. Mubashir: strong central bank demand for gold is expected to continue in the short and medium term, a trend that has seen strong momentum recently according to a survey conducted by the World Gold Council. In collaboration with research from YouGov, on Thursday, 54% of global central banks expect to increase gold reserves in the next 12 months. while all respondents from both developed and developing markets excluded gold reserves for a year to come by 0%. While 38% of central banks see gold reserves as unchanged in the next 12 months and 8% as we do not know. According to the survey, 8% of central banks around the world see the possibility of increasing their gold reserves within a year, while 11% of central banks in emerging markets and developing economies say they plan to increase their gold reserves within the next 12 months. This is close to last year's purchases, with 12% of 155 central banks in emerging markets and developing economies buying gold. But 74% of the respondents said they were not planning to change their reserves of gold in exchange for 3% intend to reduce net possession. Central banks' expectations for the reserves of gold during the year. Source: Gold Council and YouGov. Demand for gold last year rose to 651.5 tons, the highest since 1971. The Gold Board attributed the planned gold purchases to high economic risks for currencies used as reserves and significant economic risks in the next 12 months. The global markets are currently concerned about slowing economic growth worldwide as well as trade frictions as well as geopolitical tensions. In the medium term, central banks see changes in the international monetary system with a greater role for the Chinese renminbi and gold, according to the survey results. The results of the survey are based on the responses of 39 central banks around the world, including 11 developed economies and 28 banks in emerging markets and developing economies, out of 150 banks, higher than last year's 22 central banks alone. Parliamentary finance stresses the importance of preparing the government for a supplementary budget during the next month. July 20, 2019. A member of the Parliamentary Finance Committee, Ahmed Al-Safar, Saturday, the importance of preparing the federal government for a supplementary budget next month, including differences in oil prices globally and the mechanisms of distribution of surplus at the important doors. Safar said in an interview with Al Sumerian News that the House of Representatives in general and the Finance Committee in particular and has within its work a complete seriousness in order to address the government to provide a supplementary budget next month. He explained that there are clear differences in prices of oil barrels globally than what was placed in the federal budget, which necessitates the creation of adjustments to the doors of imports consistent with the size of the difference between the planned and actual imports. Safar pointed out that all the excess funds and new labels created by the work of institutions, ministries, and governorates will be included in the supplementary budget. He added that the supplementary budget is necessary and universally applicable. But in the previous budgets in Iraq has been neglected this aspect, and we will work with all force to activate it being a necessary part and gives us a more accurate and realistic perception of the aspects that have been implemented within the operational aspects. It is noteworthy that the House of Representatives voted, Wednesday, January 24, 2019, on the federal budget law of Iraq for 2019. Iraq plans to launch pipelines to export oil through Jordan. Syria 7-20-20190 comments.
Omar Sattar juli 19, 2019.
Iraq plans to diversify its oil exports via new pipelines through Jordan and Syria. Reuters. SM Al-Sudani general review of the Rumaila oil field in Basra, Iraq, November 28, 2017. Baghdad. As Iraq exports most of its crude oil production, the Iraqi government is trying to diversify its oil export outlets in a bid to avoid any damage that could result from the tense security situation in the Gulf region. Iraqi Prime Minister Adel Abdul Mahdi said in a press conference July 9 said that the government was considering export routes through Syrian and Jordanian territory, and added that Baghdad is worried about the current events in the Strait of Hormuz and their potential impact on the Iraqi economy. Last month, Iraq's production of crude oil reached 3.52 million barrels per day exported through the port of Basra, situated on the Persian Gulf, and the pipeline extending from Kirkuk to the Turkish port of Ceyhan. Iraq and Jordan agreed in February to activate the agreement to extend an oil pipeline with a capacity of 2 million barrels per day from Basra to the Jordanian port of Aqaba. Tomorrow. Declaration of Reforms and Changes in the National Union, July 20, 2019. Political news tomorrow. Declaration of Reforms and Changes in the National Union tomorrow. Declaration of Reforms and Changes in the National Union editorial date. 1919-2017-2026, 493 times read tomorrow. Declaration of Reforms and Changes in the National Union, Baghdad, Al-Furat News. Mullah Bakhtiar, a member of the Political Bureau of the Patriotic Union of Kurdistan, PUK, is due to announce on Saturday his project for changes and reforms within the Patriotic Union. Mullah Bakhtiar said in a previous statement that his project will be for the National Union and reforms and changes towards the fourth conference according to sources. Mullah Bakhtiar will announce his project during a press conference at the Jawahir Cultural Center and in the presence of PUK leaders and cadres. Continuation of the campaign for the implementation of Article 140 of the Constitution, July 20, 2019. July 19, 2019. The people of Kanakin called on the Council of Representatives and the Office of the United Nations in the Kurdistan region to implement Article 140 of the Constitution during a voluntary campaign which is still ongoing. Our correspondent in Kanakin said that the campaign was launched a week ago and is still ongoing in the district and the surrounding areas, pointing out that the people emphasize the need to return the Peshmerga forces to prevent further deterioration of security in the area.